Welcome to our documentary on Mahatma Gandhi, the man who led India to independence through nonviolent resistance. Born in 1869, his journey from a shy lawyer to a global icon of peace reshaped the 20th century. Join us as we trace his life, philosophy, and enduring legacy. In the coastal town of Porbandar, India, on October 2, 1869, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was born into a devout Hindu family. His father was a chief minister, his mother deeply religious. Young Gandhi was a shy, mediocre student, but his moral compass was shaped by tales of truth and nonviolence from the Hindu epic Ramayana. These early influences planted seeds of a philosophy that would later shake an empire. At age 13, Gandhi was married to Kasturba Mukherjee in a child marriage arranged by their families. The young couple struggled with the sudden responsibility. Gandhi later condemned child marriage, but this experience taught him about duty and sacrifice. Kasturba would become his lifelong partner and supporter, enduring his long absences and sharing his ascetic lifestyle. In 1888, Gandhi sailed to London to study law at University College London. He faced prejudice and loneliness, but also discovered the Bhagavad Gita and the Sermon on the Mount. These texts deepened his belief in nonviolence. He adopted Western dress and manners, but his soul remained Indian. He passed the bar in 1891 and returned to India only to find his mother had died. Gandhi's early legal career in India was a failure. He couldn't cross-examine witnesses or speak confidently. In 1893, he accepted a case in South Africa. There, he was thrown off a train for refusing to move from a first-class compartment, despite having a valid ticket. This incident was a turning point, igniting his fight against racial injustice. In South Africa, Gandhi organized the Indian community against discriminatory laws. He founded the Natal Indian Congress in 1894 and began practicing what he called satyagraha, truth force or nonviolent resistance. His first major campaign was against a law requiring Indians to carry registration certificates. He led marches, petitions, and peaceful protests, often facing arrest and violence. The 1906 Zulu rebellion in South Africa saw Gandhi leading a stretcher-bearer corps of Indians to help the British. He believed in loyalty to the empire, but the war's brutality troubled him. He later said this experience reinforced his commitment to nonviolence. He also began simplifying his life, adopting a vegetarian diet, and starting a commune called Phoenix Settlement. In 1915, Gandhi returned to India as a national hero. He traveled across the country, understanding the plight of peasants and workers. He established an ashram in Ahmedabad, where he lived simply, spinning cotton and fasting. His first major Indian campaign was in Champaran, Bihar, where he fought for indigo farmers exploited by British planters. He used nonviolent protests and negotiations, winning concessions. The 1919 Jallianwala Bagh massacre, where British troops killed hundreds of unarmed Indians, shocked Gandhi. He called for a nationwide non-cooperation movement, urging Indians to boycott British goods, courts, and schools. The movement gained massive support, but turned violent in Chauri Chaura in 1922, when a mob killed policemen. Gandhi called off the movement, a decision that disappointed many but upheld his principles. Arrested for sedition in 1922, Gandhi was sentenced to 6 years in prison. He used his time to read, write, and spin. He wrote his autobiography, The Story of My Experiments with Truth, detailing his spiritual and political journey. He was released early due to health issues, but his influence only grew. He emerged as the undisputed leader of the Indian independence movement. In 1930, Gandhi launched the Salt March, a 24-day, 240-mile trek to the Arabian Sea to make salt in defiance of British monopoly. Thousands joined him, and the march captured global attention. At Dandi, he picked up a lump of salt, symbolizing the start of civil disobedience. This act inspired millions and shook the British Empire. He was arrested, but the movement continued. The British responded with repression, arresting over 60,000 Indians. Gandhi was imprisoned, but his wife Kasturba continued his work. In 1931, he was released to attend the Round Table Conference in London, where he discussed Indian self-rule. He stayed in London's East End, meeting ordinary people. The conference failed, but Gandhi's stature as a global figure rose. Back in India, Gandhi focused on social reforms, especially the abolition of untouchability. He called Dalits Harijans, or children of God. He fasted to protest separate electorates for Dalits, leading to the 1932 Pune Pact. He also promoted village industries, education, and women's rights. His ashram became a hub for social work, attracting followers like Jawaharlal Nehru. World War II broke out in 1939, and Gandhi opposed Indian involvement without independence. He launched the Quit India movement in 1942, calling for an end to British rule. The British arrested him and other leaders, sparking widespread protests. Gandhi was imprisoned in the Aga Khan Palace, where Kasturba died in 1944. He was released in 1944, weakened but resolute. After the war, Britain agreed to grant independence, but the partition of India into Hindu-majority India and Muslim-majority Pakistan loomed. Gandhi opposed partition, but it was inevitable. He traveled to riot-torn Bengal and Delhi, fasting and pleading for peace. His presence calmed violence, but he could not prevent the bloodshed that accompanied partition in 1947. On January 30th, 1948, while walking to a prayer meeting in Delhi, Gandhi was shot 3 times by Nathuram Godse, a Hindu nationalist who blamed him for partition. He died with "Hey Ram" on his lips. The news plunged India into grief. His assassination was a tragic end, but his message of nonviolence had already inspired the world. Gandhi's funeral was a massive procession with millions lining the streets. His body was cremated on the banks of the Yamuna River. The funeral pyre was lit by his son. Ashes were scattered in rivers across India. The nation mourned, but his legacy was just beginning. His teachings would influence generations. Gandhi's philosophy of nonviolence, or ahimsa, became a tool for social change worldwide. Martin Luther King Jr. adopted it in the American Civil Rights Movement. Nelson Mandela used it against apartheid. Figures like Aung San Suu Kyi and Cesar Chavez also drew inspiration. Gandhi's methods proved that peaceful resistance could topple oppressive regimes. In India, Gandhi is revered as the father of the nation. His image adorns currency and statues. His ashrams are pilgrimage sites. His birthday, October 2, is a national holiday. However, his ideals are often challenged by modern politics and violence. Yet his call for simplicity, self-reliance, and tolerance remains a moral compass. Gandhi's writings, including Hind Swaraj and his autobiography, continue to be studied. He advocated for sustainable living long before it was fashionable. His critique of industrialization and consumerism resonates in today's environmental movements. He believed in trusteeship, that wealth should be used for the common good. Gandhi's legacy is complex. He has been criticized for his views on race and sexuality, and his methods sometimes failed. Yet his core message, that truth and love can overcome hatred and injustice, transcends his flaws. In a world torn by conflict, Gandhi's life reminds us that change is possible through courage, discipline, and nonviolence. Gandhi's life ended by an assassin's bullet in 1948, but his spirit endures. His philosophy of nonviolence inspired civil rights movements worldwide, from Martin Luther King Jr. to Nelson Mandela. In an age of conflict, his message of peace and justice remains a beacon for humanity.